Hey everybody, Shawn Holsinger here from holsingersflyshop.com. Bringing you another tie-in video this week. It's my easy dragonfly pattern. Nice, simple, easy still water pattern for you that'll work good for carp too. Here you're going to see a picture of the fly and then the material list. And then I'm going to show you how to tie it, and afterwards I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Okay, here you see the easy Dragonfly Nymph device. It's actually really easy to tie, that's why I called it that. Let's get into tying it. For a hook, I'm going to use the 718 Firehole. This one's a size 10. And I'm going to start out putting a little bit of lead on this, help to get it down a little bit. And put some 015 on here, and I'm going to put about 12 to 15 wraps on there. And pop that off there. And then I'm going to move it back towards the back. I want it to be on like the back 2/3. And then we're just going to trap that down with some thread. I should have went a little bit more. I'm going to move that just a little farther forward. Up to about that 1/3 point there. There we go. And then, like I said, trap it down with some thread. Next thing we're going to put on is the tail of this fly, which is also going to be the body of this fly. And I'm going to use, this is a light olive, use any color of olive, Marabou. And I'm just going to take the tip. So I'm going to use about half of the feather. I'm going to peel about half of the feather back and just separate the tips out. And then I'm going to cut that off and just use the tip part. Set the other part aside, and you can use it on the next one later if you want to. And what we're going to do there is going to be my tail. So I'm going to pinch the tips all together, and I'm going to set this on top here back. I want the tail to be about the 2/3 length. That's where I want my tail tied in at. So I'm going to come back here to where I want to tie that in and have a tail about 2/3 the length. There we go. And pop that straggler off there. And then get a couple good wraps to tie that in. You can come up a little bit, don't come up too much. And then what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this part. I got a little bit of rainbow crystal flash here, just 2 fibers. And straighten them up, line them up. And then I'm just going to tie 2 on one side, wrap it around the other side. And so you have 2 strands coming off each side. Just give it a little bit of flash, and then I'm just going to pull it to the length of the tail there and trim it off. Just going to add just a little extra flash in there. Then I'm going to take my Marabou here, and I'm going to pull it back and tie it back to the bend there, to the beginning of the tail. Now, pull off some of those straggler fibers there. But we're going to put a rib on this too, just to protect that Marabou. I'm going to use some Brassie gold here. Just going to tie that on next. And then we're going to create the body on this fly. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Marabou, pull it up, and give it a twist with my fingers. So I'm going to make a nice tight rope here with that Marabou. And it's a little easier if I put it in my hackle pliers to wrap it on. So just slip that in my hackle pliers. And then I'm just going to spin this nice side-by-side wraps. Don't over wrap it because it'll get a little bit too thick. And just wrap that up there to where your lead ends. There we go, and we're going to tie that off. Oops. Using those hackle pliers made that a lot easier there. And then we're just going to make our rib up through here. And like I said, this is just going to protect that Marabou. Not so much to shine through, and it'll give it a little bit extra flash, but it's more to protect it. Just get nice even wraps there. And there you got a nice buggy back end of this fly. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the wing case on this fly. For that, I'm using some Scud back. This is 1/8 dark olive. I'm just going to put it on the top. I'm going to flip it upside down and put this on the what is the bottom side of the hook actually. Just tie that down and get it back there to that point, that 1/3 point, and wrap the rest of it down. Now, gonna flip it back up, take a piece of bead chain here, and I'm gonna use the bead chain for the eyes on this fly. Go deep in your scissors to cut that bead chain off because you don't want to damage your scissors. And just take 2 of the beads, and that's what we're gonna tie in for the eyes. Now I'm gonna tie this on the top side of the hook, which will become the bottom side, but tie it in on the top side of the hook. Make a couple wraps there, zigzag it back and forth, figure 8 it, go under, do whatever you can to tighten it up. What I like to do is get a couple wraps and then hit it with just a touch of bone dry. That helps lock it in place a little bit better. Oops. Get that scud back out of the way. That'll help hold it in place a little bit better. And now we're going to put the rest of this on here. For the next part I'm going to use some dark olive SLF squirrel dub here. I'm just going to make a strip of it. We're going to make a dubbing loop. We're going to make about 1.5 inch long strip, just so we can dubbing loop behind them eyes. And then however you like to make a dubbing loop, if you like to split your thread or make a dubbing loop and spin it, either way, whatever works best for you. I'm going to make a loop here. I've been splitting the thread on it, but for the video here, I'm going to do it in a loop. Oops. Okay, put that inch-long piece of dubbing in there, spread it out, and give it a spin. Now these wraps here, there we go. I want to keep it buggy. You can see how nice and thick it is here. I want to make these wraps back here behind the eyes. I want this to be the legs on my fly. So I'm going to try to keep it here behind the eyes. And maybe make one wrap in front and under. I don't want to get it too buggy up front, and then we're just going to tie it off. Okay, now I'm just going to take a little bit more dubbing here and put a small noodle of dub on my thread, and I'm just going to clean this up a little bit in front of the eyes, make a little head in front of the eyes, and make a couple wraps around the eyes, but where I want my bugginess in my legs behind the eyes. Now we're going to take our scud back, pull it up over the top. First I'm going to pull all that dub down. Pull the scud back up over the top, tie it down behind the eyes, and then I'm just going to drop one wrap behind the eyes, and I'm going to pull this scud back and tie that down 1 or 2 wraps behind the eyes, then come up and tie it off behind the eye of the hook. We'll finish this off. And then this scud back does not have the longest shelf life. You can leave it go like that, but eventually it's going to dry rot on you if it doesn't do it while you're tying it, if it's not older. And so I like to just hit this with a little bit of UV glue. Just make a nice little head there. Get my vodka. Clean that up a little bit. There we go. And then glue that all down, and you got yourself a nice little wing case on top. And there you go. There is the easy Dragonfly. Just trim a little bit of that glue up to clean my fly up some. And there you go. You got a good buggy little fly that's going to catch you some stillwater fish. Okay guys, hope you like that pattern. Really easy way to tie a dragonfly. Got an upcoming trip here coming where I'm going to be doing some stillwater fishing. There's lots of dragonflies in the ponds and stuff that I'm going to be fishing in. So I wanted to have some on hand with me when I go. I looked at some other patterns, saw what I liked, and just messed around and tried to find an easy, quick way to tie one so I could hammer a couple out. And this one looks great. And it matches a lot of the other patterns out there, but it's a really simple way to tie it. So give it a try and have fun tying. That's what it's all about. If you need any of the materials, like always, guys, please go to our website at holsingersflyshop.com. We'll be more than happy to help you out there. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at holsingersflyshop@gmail.com. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next week when I bring you another video, I'm Shawn Holsinger.